Got Jamaree, baby.
Hi, my name is Ezekiel, and for the Old Sturbridge Village field trip, I worked with Jamaree, Ceasar, and Alana. We covered the topic of education. Join us as we explore how education transformed the lives of farmers, potteries, and printing press workers throughout New England.
Well, the basic answer to that is I went to school.
Wait. Hold on. I know you want to watch this interview, but hold on. I gotta say, shout out to the farmer, the pottery person, and the printing press. This couldn't be done without you. Thank you.
You know, schooling in Massachusetts, even in the 19th or 18th centuries before it, was a really important thing. And as far as learning how to be a farmer, which is what I am, that's something you did essentially by following on, which was a term sort of a less formal apprenticeship. You know, there's no contract, you know, you just learned how to farm from your family because you grow up doing it. You know, it's something that kids would have done whatever work they're able to do as soon as they're able to do it. You know, so from a young age, you would have been, you know, helping pick weeds or rocks out of the garden, you know, helping round up animals. You know, eventually you're big enough to start carrying in firewood or pails of water, you know, splitting wood, doing basic chores, feeding the animals, you know, bringing them water and hay, cleaning up after them. And like I said, you just would have sort of learned bit by bit as you got older and more capable. You know, your parents or older siblings, you know, just as sort of a last extension to that. You know, when we think of like the horrors of the Industrial Revolution and this idea of like children working in factories, that wasn't some like new and horrible idea. You know, the reason that children worked in factories when factories appeared was because children were always a part of whatever the family's work was. You know, so if the parents went to work on a farm, well, the kids learned how to farm too. You know, if dad was a blacksmith or a cooper, chances are pretty good he's training his sons to do that. And so when people began to go to work as factories, if, you know, mom and dad go to work in a factory, of course the kids come along. What else is there?
So you work at a printing press, correct? Is that what this is?
That's what that is.
That's what that is? And that is your job, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you become educated on your profession?
What do you think?
You learned from somebody who did it for you?
Very good.
Is that how most things were back then?
Yeah.
As far as my education, I'd have an 8th grade education. I'd be able to read, write, and arithmetic. So I'm spending most of my time down on the farm. What I can do, if I can break away for an hour, I'm up here throwing on the wheel. What I do throw, glaze, and fire would be by request, and I bring it to the country store for credit. So this will help pay off my account. In addition to the pots that I bring, I'm also bringing up, being a farmer, cheese, butter, ashes, rags, grains, livestock from time to time. Would be going up there to help pay off my account. Unlikely I would ever leave town. I'm very busy year-round, all day long, every day of the year. As I mentioned, skills would be handed down within the family. As a young person, I would have been shown how to throw on the wheel and an awful lot of practice.
How would you think that learning how to become a farmer is going to change over time as things are going to change?
You know, you can know a lot about farming, but that doesn't give you the ability to make a living at it unless you also know how to read and write. You know, you got to keep your accounts, you know, when you're buying and selling all the stuff you make or trading for what you can't make yourself. You need reading and writing to do that. We practice a style of farming called mixed husbandry or general husbandry, which is like a little bit of everything. You're mostly trying to support your own needs. As transportation grows and factories are growing, farming also becomes specialized. So I'm going to try and pick one thing and do that as efficiently as possible and as much as possible and sell everything I make to a market.
No, not in America. Europe, different story. But in America, ask yourself this absolutely ridiculous question. In your lifetime, have you ever wandered into a store that said "and son"?
Come on, think. Brain blast!
Not really.
Why?
Because everybody has their own dreams that they want to follow.
And besides, they've been listening to Dad complain about his work for the last 15 years. So they don't want to do it. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many people are still using a press like this one?
Probably like
Nobody.
I should be specific. In what country do you find a press like this one more commonly than you do in the United States of America?
some that are really far behind.
How about places like China?
Oh no, they're probably way.
I have a friend who was a missionary in China, and somebody out of the goodness of their heart 4 or 5 years ago gave him a computer and a printer to the tune of $750,000. I said, "You like it, Father?" He said, "Yeah, we can use it 3 times a year." Really? Because that's the only time he's got electricity, 3 times a year.
How come?
Because they don't give him electricity. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a different world. And outside of these United States, it's very, very different. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
He said, "So what have you been doing for missiles and prayer books?" He says, "We use the old press." Why? It still works.
In the 1830s, sea sponges were available. Drop that down, soak up that water.
This particular machine was built in the South Bronx in 1824, so it's almost 200 years old.
From now or from?
It was built in 1824. So what's the year today?
2023.
So it's almost 200 years old. Does that make sense? It is not a perfect machine. I've complained about it for over 37 years. I maintain it's constantly under repair. I mean, we put non-mechanical parts in it just since 1824. I think that's dreadful. And when you spend good money, you think this thing would hold up.
End of story.